Hey, it's your friend Carrie at holisticspsychic.com and Soul Star Healing Arts Center in Sedona, Arizona. Thank you so much for tuning in with me here as we take a look at the cosmic energies shining in alignment with the upcoming full moon happening in the sign of Libra on April 12th, 13th, depending on your location, time zone on the planet. So we're going to take a look at the cosmic energies shining in as well as what it all means for you. So let's go ahead and dive in. Welcome back, dear friends. If you're new here, my name is Carrie, and I am a professional psychic energy reader, astrologer, and shamanic energy healing practitioner here in Sedona. I love taking just a little bit of time out of my schedule to share significant energy shifts with all of you so that we can be working with that as consciously as possible to support our evolution journey, which is what this channel here is all about. So if you love this type of content, please do take a moment to subscribe, hit the bell, share, all that jazz. It really does help to support my work here and enables me to continue to create this free content. The saga continues. It continues to be a very strong evolutionary times of like significant shifts and transformations, longer karmic cycles completing, leading us into new beginnings. That's how I would summarize the overarching energies, but I want to like delve into some specifics, and you might want to grab something to take notes with because I'm going to be sharing insights along the way of tools you can work with during this time. So to begin with, the full moon is happening in the sign of Libra, and it's opposite the sun, which is right now in Aries. So in and of itself, right there, we have a self versus other axis going on. Full moons always illuminate our awareness, and this full moon is illuminating our awareness around our personal identity, our personal path, our personal needs, as it relates to how we relate with others. Venus is the ruling planet of this full moon because Venus is the planet that rules Libra. So we want to take a look at what's going on with Venus. Well, Venus has been retrograde for about 6 weeks, which only happens every year and a half. So it's a pretty substantial energy shift when that happens. When Venus goes retrograde, typically things from our past, especially relationships or relationship ideals, come up for review so that we can have a deeper understanding, a deeper clearing, sometimes even a letting go. And Venus actually goes direct again on the same day as the full moon. So this is another substantial shift that feels like it is lending itself to karmic completion because Venus is in the sign of Pisces. And Pisces, on one level, is the energy of endings. And Libra is the energy that is mainly connected to how we relate with others, relationships, finding harmony, balance, beauty in how we interact and relate. So karmic endings around maybe where there's been old toxic patterns, karmic endings with old soul agreements that you're ready to bring into completion, which ultimately creates space for us all collectively to create new soul agreements with ourselves. Okay, and so a lot of what we're going to look at is the deeper level of this specific dynamic. What I love doing in my life is looking at the tarot cards that are connected to the astrology that's going on at any given time to give me a pathway as to how to work with the energy. So, for example, with the full moon happening in Libra, the tarot card that rules Libra is the Justice card. The Justice card has to do with balance, truth, It's about living in alignment with our personal integrity. And the Justice card can also be about severing energetic connections, especially connections that are no longer integrous, no longer aligned with our current level of awareness, our current level of what our life values are, and the trajectory that we choose to live in alignment with based on those things. Actually, a really good way to learn the tarot is to work with them in this self reflective type of way, doing journaling exercises. So, for example, the Justice card, okay, where do I need to sever some energetic ties? Where do I need to restore balance and harmony in my life? Am I living in alignment with my personal truth? And as we said earlier, Libra is ruled by Venus. The tarot card that relates to Venus is the Empress card. The Empress card is the archetype of Mother Nature. It's bounty, it's plentifulness. It's very much aligned with self care, self nurturing, self love. And so this tells us how to work with the energy. We embrace everything that we're examining in our life right now that is connected to karmic endings and completions through the lens of self love with the interest in restoring harmony, beauty, and balance. And just a little bit more of a deeper dive into the Libra aspect of this full moon. The full moon is happening at 23 degrees of Libra. And that final decan of Libra, those last 10 degrees of Libra, relates to the Four of Swords tarot card. The Four of Swords shows up when we need to take a mental break that can indicate mental exhaustion. And with everything that we've all had going on, for the past several months, really since the new year, with intense energies that have been showing up astrologically, a lot of us are feeling weary, myself included. But the energy is in the midst of shifting right now. And the Four of Swords reminds us that analyzing our way through mentally isn't so much the thing right now. The deeper wisdom teaching of the Four of Swords is to calm the mind, let the mind relax, and delve deeper into the consciousness of the heart and soul through meditation, self reflection, things like that. So then we're going to talk about the sun, what's going on in opposition of the moon. We have the sun in Aries. The sun illuminates our awareness. When the sun is in Aries by transit, meaning the sun is passing through Aries in its annual motion, it has a collective influence of bringing all of us into a energy of ambitiousness, drive, optimism, and enthusiasm. And the sun, opposite to the full moon, is making a conjunction to Chiron. Chiron represents our sacred wounds, which ultimately it's through our journey of healing and working with bringing the shadow unconscious aspect of our sacred wounds into the light of our awareness is what's happening now with the sun conjunct Chiron. And ultimately, the deeper job of Chiron is always connected to elevating. It's about guiding us into our higher nature. And so, with Chiron and the sun at 23 degrees of Aries, the tarot card that represents that is the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is all about celebrational energy. So, we have the Four of Swords and the Four of Wands. Now, the number four in numerology and in the tarot is a number that represents the tangible earthly plane. And so it's manifestation energy. The Four of Wands reminds us to celebrate the growth that we have already achieved as we are ready to turn the page into a new chapter of growth. And then Aries energy. This is where we're tapping into the energy of new beginnings, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It represents a rebirthing, a renewal. So all of us collectively are having that energy awakened within us because the sun is in Aries right now. And the tarot card that represents the zodiac sign of Aries is the Emperor card. The Emperor is the king of manifestation energy. It's the king of knowing exactly what your vision is and holding space for that and being in alignment with taking action in that direction. But it's even deeper than that. It's embodying the energy in the here and now that matches what it is that you're intending to manifest. And that is the golden key to manifestation that's being revealed to all of us right now. So ponder, am I doing that? Are you doing that? Let me know what your story is about this in the comments below. Are you right now fully consciously practicing embodying the energy? Or you can see it as the energetic role. Are you embodying the role that a person who has successfully manifested what your goals are would be embodying? If you're not already doing it, practice it this week and then come back and share what the results of that are. Now, speaking of Aries, we're in the first week of Neptune having just ingressed into Aries after being in Pisces for the past 13 and a half, 14 years. So this is a huge shift. Neptune is one of the outermost planets. And because of that, it is connected to our spiritual nature, our connection with the great mystery, our connection with our own higher self, and the language that our soul uses to connect with the beyond, which is our intuition. I've been talking about this in my past few videos because we've been coming into it, and here we are. Remember that Neptune in Aries is the archetype of the spiritual warrior, which means we're tapping into our spiritual nature and aligning that with the ambition, optimism, drive, and force of will that Aries lends itself to. Neptune is just in this, still at 0 degrees. So it's in that first 10 degrees of Aries. And the card that represents that is the Two of Wands. So this wand energy is fire energy, which is enthusiasm, expansion, purification, illuminating our awareness around what our innermost creative ambitions are, creative talent, skills, abilities, what our innermost passions are, and embarking on the journey of establishing foundations for growth specifically in those directions. Are you doing that in your life right now? If not, start practicing this week. This is the only time in our lifetime that anybody who is alive on this planet now will ever experience Neptune in Aries. I'm personally super excited about this energy because I love the idea of the archetype of the spiritual warrior, calling upon the deep soul power within you to live your best life, especially with Chiron conjuncting the sun here, elevating, supporting us and rising into our highest nature, our highest potential. So these are the primary oomph energies coming in right now. It's all about karmic endings, new soul agreements. The ending part is very connected to what's still going on in the Pisces sector of your chart. I definitely recommend looking at your chart and seeing where all this is happening, because the reading that I'm doing here is talking about the collective energies that we're all experiencing, but you can dial it in for yourself more precisely by understanding what area of your chart this is all happening in for you. And if you don't know that and you really would just prefer to have some consultation around that, definitely reach out and book an appointment with me. I do readings with clients all day, every day. I'm happy to bring you on as a new client if you've never had a reading with me before. I specialize in what I call life path astrology, which is taking a look at your natal chart in regard to what your soul gifts are, what your soul lineage is, what your true sense of soul calling is, and then what your roadmap to that is. Of course, as a professional psychic, I can't help but weave in intuitive insights and guidances along the way as well. We have Venus in Pisces, which has been retrograde and just went direct, is going direct the same day as the full moon. We have Mercury in Pisces, which also has been retrograde, but went direct on April 7th. We have Saturn still in Pisces, but getting ready to move into Aries at the end of May. And we have the North Node, the collective destiny point, in Pisces right now as well. So this is a lot going on. The inner planets, which are considered the personal planets, which are Mars, Venus, Mercury, show us exactly where we can expect the transformation to be happening, especially when we have an inner or personal planet connected with an outer transpersonal planet. With Venus direct now in Pisces, and it won't be long before it does move back into Aries. This is another endings beginning theme, because Venus is the ruler of this full moon in Libra. There definitely is going to be relationship-oriented themes. And this can include relationship dynamics with yourself, especially with Mercury in the mix as well. This could be the end of patterns of negative self-talk, the end of patterns of uncertainty, fear, things like that. Anytime we have retrogrades, it's a time of reflection. So we've all been in a time of reflection already. So with the forward movement beginning to come into the picture, we can expect clarity of awareness now that leads us to clear decision making, which is definitely going to be that Mercury direct, connected to the completions that we're choosing for ourselves and the new beginnings that we're choosing for ourselves. The zodiac sign of Pisces relates to the moon tarot card. The moon is connected to shadow work. The moon is connected to deep unconscious things that have been driving us or compelling us or motivating us. But some of those things can be wounds, right? Unhealed shadow components. And so this is a part of the new beginnings that are happening now. Is light of awareness, illuminating where there's been unconscious shadow things at play, enabling us to shift into conscious healing. Have you been noticing this within you? Let us know in the comments below. So all of these planets and points that are in Pisces right now are in the last 10 degrees of Pisces. And that last decan of Pisces relates to the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is all about celebrating a victorious return to joy and fulfillment after periods of trials, tribulations, and difficulties. So with these cards that are showing up that are connected to celebration energy, triumphant energy, return to joy, that shows us what to practice. Again, practice embodying the higher vibrational frequencies that are connected to the new beginnings that you're setting with your intent. And that is going to be your gateway into that manifested reality. Just a couple other things I want to talk about here. There's so many things going on. We have the planet Mars opposing Pluto. Mars has been in Cancer for quite some time. It recently went retrograde, and it will actually be ingressing into Leo on May 18th. Mars is the Tower card in the tarot, which is a dismantling energy in preparation for a rebuilding to happen in your life. How are you noticing that happening in you? Do you have that going on? Let me know in the comments. The zodiac sign of Cancer is the Chariot card. The Chariot card is all about you harnessing the power of your focus and will to guide yourself forward in alignment with what your biggest or deepest soul calling goals and dreams are, even when you don't know what the outcome will be. So there's an element to this that is kind of blind faith, going forward in the direction of what you're instinctually being guided towards, even without knowing or having any guarantees as to what the future brings. So there's a boldness, there's a courageousness here that's coming in. And it's going to be through you driving yourself forward in that way that ultimately you reconnect with a renewed sense of thriving in your life, because you're reconnected with what brings meaning to your soul. You're noticing the support that you're getting from the universe. And the reason I say that is because this last decan of Cancer that Mars is in right now represents the Four of Cups card. And the Four of Cups shows up when we have times where we're so self-absorbed in what we see maybe as not being right, not being aligned, not being fair, that we don't see the gifts and opportunities that are around us. So it's a lot about shifting your focus, shifting out of anything that feels like victim consciousness, shifting out of anything that feels like boredom energy, humdrum energy, lackadaisical energy, disenchanted energy. So that brings me to Pluto. Pluto is the planet of transformation, alchemy, evolution. In the sign of Cancer, where Mars is, it's about our deep inner private self. It also represents your home, early childhood, mother issues, things like that. But it's your deep inner private self. And that's specifically where we're having transformation in our lives right now, alchemizing, turning dark into light, just as a hypothetical example. So the tarot cards that you can reflect upon in regard to the Pluto element are the Five of Swords can reveal where we have been in victim consciousness. It can also reveal where we maybe have been taking more of an egocentric approach to conquering conflict in our life at the expense of others, for example, not being in your full integrity, for example. But this card can also reveal a refusal to continue to play that game, right? So it could be either side. You could be a person who feels that you've been unfairly, energetically beaten up by another person. You could be the person doing that. Either way, the deeper teaching is to choose to no longer play that unintegrous game. And that is the deep key to the transformation that is happening with this axis between Pluto and Mars. This first decan of Pluto also relates to the planet Venus, which goes back to the ruler of this entire full moon. And so we're replacing ego thinking with heart consciousness. Pluto is making a trine aspect to Uranus. Uranus is the planet of revolution, unexpected developments, sudden change. It's also innovation. And so this energy coming in definitely will lend itself to us being able to take those leaps. More than likely, all these things that I've been talking about are going to be connected to areas of your life where you've had longer standing internal conflict or lack of resolution with, and now are suddenly able to, like, boom, I'm done, I'm making the shift, I'm on to my next journey here. I love hearing from all of you how this is all playing out in your life. So I definitely invite that. And again, if you want to keep up with the transformational content that I offer here on my channel, please do take a moment to subscribe. I'm going to wrap it up here today, guys. All my love, blessings, namaste, and I will see you in the next video.